Hi, I'm Jacob Seligman, and I'm Jordan Renner. 16 years ago, Jacob and his brother Dan wrote an awesome musical that just happens to be completely relevant for our time. And 9 months ago, Jordan began filming a documentary about the show. It's an amazing story, and you can actually be part of it. By pledging to our Kickstarter campaign to put the Big Bank back on the stage, you will be an important part of an unfolding journey about love, belief, and the power of art to bring people together. The story of the Big Bank is all about the many people who have made this musical what it is. Now the story brings us here to Kickstarter, and you can become part of the Big Bank family that's been growing for 16 years. Okay, let's rewind 21 years.
Acting like I don't know what. I just poked him under the devil day.
That's me and Dan in our high school musical. Dan was a senior, I was a freshman, and the theater director took a chance by casting two brothers in the starring roles of Where's Charlie? Dan's the one in the dress. I think this was the experience which laid the groundwork for writing the musical.
I think it's the cornucopia. It's been all over the eyes.
Here we are, 5 years later, actually writing the musical.
Stop, Danny, just ignore the camera. You ignore it.
I'm behind the camera, annoying Dan as usual. One night, we were watching Charlie Rose interview Andrew Lloyd Webber, and Dan came up with the idea of the two of us writing a musical. That night, we came out onto this porch of the house we grew up in, and we decided that the musical would be about a bank that loves to foreclose on people. Dan was kind of freaking out about what he was going to do with the rest of his life since he had just graduated, and many of his friends were becoming bankers and lawyers, which really scared the both of us. That's why we decided to write the musical about a bank that loves to foreclose on people and a banker who longs for a more meaningful existence and falls in love with a woman whose flower shop he has to foreclose on. Though we thought we would finish writing the musical in a few months, we ended up spending an entire year working around the clock. Living back at home with our parents and spending all of our time together may have been better than working for a bank.
I hate this. I'm sick of it.
It didn't always feel like it. Finally, a year after we started, we finished the musical and went into the studio to record the demo. Our dad, who was a high school English teacher, was like a supervisor on the creation of the musical. He helped us write and edit and come up with ideas. Both of our parents were extremely supportive and put up with a lot of arguing that year.
Too fast. That's it. No, yes it is. Why is it a joke?
That's Stuart Hemingway at the piano. Stuart was my piano teacher since I was 12 years old. He was a local legend because of his abilities on the piano and the fact that he was blind. We would never have been able to write the musical had it not been for Stuart. He was such an influence that we named the main character of the show Stuart as a tribute to him. Stephanie Keyes was Stuart's best friend, and on the demo she sang the part of Iris, the flower shop owner who Stuart falls in love with. Stephanie, in real life, also owned a flower shop. It was the first of many strange Big Bank coincidences. After finishing up the demo, we gathered in her flower shop for a celebration. We were all confident that the Big Bank was going to be a hit.
I'm sure it will be successful. We don't know when, or where, or how.
Shortly after the party, the New York Times printed an article about me and Dan. We spent a year pushing the Big Bank, and we got some serious interest from some big producers, but nothing came of our efforts.
My expectations were incredibly high. It was the first thing that I had sunk so much of my mental energy into and just cared so much about and really believed in. And I think I was crushed when I started to slowly realize that this wasn't going to happen, that people liked it, but we never found that one person, and that's always what it takes, I feel like, to champion it, who has the power to make it happen. Because I don't had the power to create it, but I didn't feel like I had the power to make it happen.
After spending a year trying to find a producer for the show, we gave up. It seemed that no one was interested in a musical about foreclosure. We decided to put the Big Bank on the shelf and went our separate ways.
Hi, Mom.
Dan moved to California to be a screenwriter, and I got married and had 2 children while composing music for television documentaries. Then, 13 years after we wrote the musical, the financial crisis hit in 2008 and the mass foreclosures followed. The Big Bank was suddenly relevant, and we started sending it out again. Finally, in December of 2010, I got an email. It was asking for permission to produce the Big Bank. I couldn't believe it. Camilla Ross was our savior. She is the president of the Emerson Theater Collaborative in Connecticut and a professor of accounting. She connected with the Big Bank's relevance and its message of love over greed and decided to put the show on. There would be a 12-show run in the basement of a church in Mystic, Connecticut at the end of July of 2011. Production began in March. Jacob's dad gave me a call. I was his student in high school, and in 2010 I gave him a part in a sci-fi web movie I was making. He played the part of God. Sel, as he was known in school, told me that I should come over to his house to hear about an amazing story that he thought might be documentary material. When I talked to Jacob, he told me I should just come over with my camera and start filming.
Obviously, what's cool about this documentary is that we don't know how it's going to turn out. It's like there really is a big unknown quantity at the end of this. It's like we're going to see the development, we're going to see the characters, but that's all interesting, and then there's like actually this thing that's going to happen, and you're going to see the people who are putting it on, you're going to see the people who are acting in it, and it's going to be this family thing. I mean, first of all, just the making of a musical is cool, right? The Big Bank is like this thing. It's been 15 years in the making, and there's all these amazing things that have happened along the way, and all these amazing people, and now it's actually like coming to a place where it's going to be performed.